Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. So we will be having chapter number 16, support and movement, lecture number 3 today. Lesson objectives for today: introduction of muscles, comparison of 3 types of muscles, explanation of the ultrastructure of the skeletal muscles, and explaining the sliding filament model of muscle contraction. Now we will be discussing the muscular system after the skeletal system. Muscles, these are responsible for all types of body movements. They have the ability to contract and shorten, and they are the machines of the body. The study of muscles, that is known as myology, and other functions which are associated with the muscles is that they can hold the body parts in the different postural positions, the movement of the body fluids, and the generation of heat, and they help in the circulation of blood, and they protect and keep in place our abdominal organs also. So these are what? These are some of the functions of muscular system. Types of muscles. Skeletal muscle contraction is voluntary and allows an animal to move smooth muscle contraction. They will be pushing the food along in the digestive tract, and the cardiac muscles, they will be allowing the heart to pump the blood. So these are the 3 types of muscles. Now talking about the smooth muscles. Smooth muscles, they are found in the walls of hollow organs such as digestive, reproductive, urinary tract, and the blood vessels. They are widely distributed throughout the body. Variable in function than other muscles type. They have no striation. Why? Because the myofilaments which are present, they are not organized into the sarcomeres. They have spindle shaped cells with a single nucleus in the middle of the cells. They are involuntary in nature. That means they have no conscious control. So this is all about the smooth muscles. Now the cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles, they have striations. Striations means they have alternate light and dark bands. They usually have a single nucleus, but they can have 2 nucleus per cell also. The cells, adjacent cells, they will be joining together to form branching fibers by specialized cell to cell attachments, that is known as intercalated disc, which have gap like junctions that will be allowing the action potential to pass from cell to cell. These cells do not fatigue easily. They are involuntary. Involuntary means no conscious control, and they are found only in the heart. Talking about the skeletal muscles, name itself that is indicating that these are the muscles which are usually attached to the bones. They have a voluntary control. Voluntary control means we consciously can control their action. Striated light and dark bands are present. You can see in the figure also, alternate light and dark bands, they are present along the entire length of the cell. Muscle fibers, they will be forming bundles, and several nuclei per cell that they will be present. This is the comparison of muscle types, 3 types of muscles, and how they are compared with each other. Muscle type, for example, the skeletal muscle, the location. Skeletal muscles, they are attached to the bones. Cardiac muscles, they are present in the heart. Smooth muscles, they are present in the walls of internal organs and in skin. Function, skeletal muscle, they help in the movement of the bone. Cardiac muscle, they help in the beating of the heart. Smooth muscles, they help in the movement of internal organs. Control mode, skeletal muscles, they are voluntary. That means they can be moved by our own will. Cardiac muscles, they are involuntary. That means their movement that does not depend on our own will. They will be moving independently. They will be contracting independently. Smooth muscles, again involuntary muscles. Shape of the muscles, how can that be compared? Skeletal muscles, they are long and slender, a single cell that is long and slender. Cardiac muscles, they have a branching structure, and the smooth muscles, they are spindle shaped. Characteristics, skeletal muscles, they are striated. That means alternate light and dark bands are present, and many nuclei are present per cell. Cardiac muscles, again striation that is present. Light and dark bands are present, but the nucleus, that is 1 or 2 nuclei per cell that is present. In the smooth muscles, non-striated, there are no striation that is present, no alternate light and dark bands are present, only 1 nucleus per cell that is present, and present in the visceral organs. Muscle attachment. Muscles, they are usually attached to 2 or more different bones. muscle fibers that will be ending in a strong white flexible cord that is known as the tendon. You can see the tendon here. This at the bone, the fibers of the tendon, they are embedded in the periosteum of the bone, and that will be anchoring the tendon strongly and spreads the force of the contraction. Tendons are the connective tissues which join muscles to the bone, whereas ligaments, they are the connective tissues which join one bone with another bone. Skeletal muscle fiber, this is the structure, a whole skeletal muscle fiber that is composed of a number of muscle fibers in bundles. You can see the bundles here. This is the skeletal muscle and these are the bundles, and these bundles that will be consisting of muscle fibers. Each muscle fiber, that is a cell containing the usual cellular components but with special features. You can see that this is a bundle of muscle fiber, and if you just take out one single muscle fiber, so that is a single cell of the skeletal muscle, and single cell will be having all the cellular components but with special features. So the sarcolemma that is present, sarcolemma is the plasma membrane that will be forming a T system. T system is a transverse system of T tubules. T tubules, these are the T tubules. The sarcoplasmic reticulum at regular intervals that will be dipping down into the cell so that they come into contact but they do not fuse with the expanded portions of the modified endoplasmic reticulum that is known as the sarcoplasmic reticulum. These are the T tubules and they are in contact with these structures here in on the side, and this is known as the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The sarcoplasmic reticulum, these expanded portions, they serve as the storage sites for the calcium ions which are essential for the muscle contraction. The sarcoplasmic reticulum that will be encasing hundreds and sometimes even thousands of myofibrils which are the contractile portions of the fibers. Myofibrils, if you just look at these are the bundles of myofibrils here. If you just take out a single myofibril, you will be seeing that these have striations. These have alternate light and dark bands on them, and it is these bands that cause the skeletal muscle to appear striated. Electron microscope that will be showing that the striation of the myofibrils, they are formed by the placement of protein filaments within contractile units which are known as sarcomere. You can see this is one of the Z line here, and this is one of the Z line here, and the distance between one and this one, that is known as the sarcomere. This part of the myofibril that is composed of the actin protein, and this part where the dark band that is present, that is mainly composed of myosin protein. So two types of protein that together gives the appearance of light and dark bands here. The I band that is light colored because it contains only actin filaments and attached to a Z line, whereas the dark regions of the A band that contains overlapping actin and myosin filaments, and its edge zone has only myosin filaments, which we will be watching in the next slide. Now this is the ultrastructure of the myofibrils here. You can see that thin and thick filaments, they are present. Thin filaments, they are only comprising of the actin protein, whereas the myosin and actin filaments, they constitute the A band. This is the A band here, which comprises of the thick and thin filaments together. This is the I band, which only comprises of the thin filaments or the actin filaments. Here the overlapping of the actin and the myosin filament that is taking place, and so it comprises the A band. The center of the A band that is lighter than the other regions in a relaxed sarcomeres, as there are no overlapping between the actin and the myosin in this region. So this region that is known as the H zone. H stands for heli. Heli means bright. So this is the brighter zone in the center of the dark band, and no overlapping that is taking place, and it only comprises of the myosin filaments. The H zone itself, that is bisected by a dark line that is known as the M line. That this line that is present in the center of the H zone, that is known as the M line. M line joins the adjacent myosin filaments together at a point halfway along their length. Thick filaments are 16 nanometer in diameter and they are composed of only myosin protein, whereas the thin filaments, they are 7 to 8 nanometer thick and they are composed chiefly of the actin protein. So actin and myosin, we will be Discussing the thin filaments first. Thin filaments, they are composed of two long chains that are twisted around one another. Each actin molecule that has a myosin binding site where a myosin head that can get attached to. You can see these are the two bead like structure which are twisted around each other. They are the actin proteins of the light band. Then the two strands of the tropomyosin, these are the two strands of the tropomyosin. This is one of the strand and this is one another strand. Two strands of the tropomyosin, they spiral about the actin core and they help it to stiffen. In a relaxed muscle fiber, they block the myosin binding site. That means they are around the actin filament in such a way that they block the binding sites which are present on the actin filament. Then the myosin heads, they cannot get attached to it, and so the contraction, it cannot occur. Troponin, that is a 3 polypeptide complex. This is another protein which is present on the actin protein. Troponin, that is a 3 polypeptide complex. One of these polypeptide is an inhibitory subunit that binds to the actin. That will be binding to the actin. The other part that will be binding with the tropomyosin and helps position it on the actin. The third part of this troponin, that will be binding with the calcium ions. Both troponin and tropomyosin, they help control the myosin actin interactions involved in the contraction. Now we come to the thick filament. This is the thick filament that mainly comprises of the protein that is known as myosin. What is the structure of the myosin here? The type of myosin which is present in the muscle, that is a very large protein consisting of two identical heavy chains and two pairs of light chain. Each heavy chain that consists of a globular head. This is the globular head. These are the globular head which are the part of the heavy chains. So each heavy chain that will be having the consisting of the globular head region and a long helical tail. So this is the structure of the myosin protein with the two heavy chains and two light chains, and the heavy chain with the globular head, and these globular head, they will be binding to the binding sites on the actin protein. As a muscle fiber contracts, the sarcomeres within the myofibrils, that shortens. You can see the sarcomere. Sarcomere is what? That is Z to Z length of the fibril, that is known as the sarcomere. This is the normal state of the muscle when the muscle that is not contracting. So you can see the I band that is here. This is the I band comprising only of the thin filament, the actin protein. This is from here till here where the overlapping of the thick and the thin filament that is taking place. You can see the overlapping here, that comprises of the A band, and in the center of the A band, this region where the thin filaments are not present and only the thick filaments they are present, that is a lighter in color than that of this band, this forming the dark band. So this brighter portion in the center of the dark band, that is known as the H zone and bisected by a M line. You can see that this is when the muscle that is not contracting, but when the muscle that starts to contract, so when a sarcomere that shortens, the actin filaments, they slide past the myosin filament. You can see here the actin filaments, they slide inwards from both the sides and they pass over the thick filaments or the myosin filaments and approach one another. This causes the I band to shorten. You can see this was the length from here till here, that was the I band, but here you can see the I band, the length of the I band that has shortened here. And you can see the H zone that was present here, the brighter zone that was present here, but now due to the movement of the thin filaments towards the center, the H zone that has nearly disappeared. The movement of actin filaments in relation to myosin filaments, that is known as sliding filament theory of muscle contraction, and during the sliding process the sarcomere shortens even though the filaments themselves remain the same length. You can see the filaments, they have not changed their size or the shape, they are the same, but still the length of the sarcomere from one point to another point, that has shortened. ATP supplies the energy for muscle contraction. Although the actin filaments slide past the myosin filament, it is the myosin filaments that do the most work. Myosin filaments, they break down ATP and they form the cross bridges that attach to and pull the actin filaments towards the center of the sarcomere. So what are the cross bridges? We have discussed in the previous slide that the actin filaments, they have the sites where the globular heads of the myosin filaments, they will be getting attached to. So when this attachment that is done, that they are known, the attachment of the actin and the globular head of the myosin, when they join together, they are linked with each other, then that is known as the cross bridges. And due to that those cross bridges, they are able to, the thin filament, the thick filaments, the myosin protein, that is able to slide the thin filament over them. So this is what, this is sliding filament model, how the muscle contraction that will be taking place. Properties of skeletal muscles. Two main properties of the skeletal muscles, they are the irritability, that is the ability to receive and respond to a stimulus, and the second one is the contractility, that is the ability to shorten when an adequate stimulus that is received. Control of the cross bridges. Nerves innervate muscles, that is nerve impulses cause muscles to contract. Axon of a motor neuron, that will be branching to several muscle fibers, and each branch ends in several axon bulbs with synaptic vesicles that contain the neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine. The region where an axon bulb lies in close proximity to the sarcolemma of a muscle fiber, that is known as the neuromuscular junction. You can see the neuromuscular junction. This is the axon bulb, ending of the axon, that is a bulb-like structure, and this is the plasma membrane or the sarcolemma of the muscle cell. And so the connection where both of them, they are meeting together, this connection is known as the neuromuscular junction. A neuromuscular junction that has the same components as a synapse, a presynaptic membrane. But which one is the presynaptic membrane? This one, the ending of the axon terminal, that is the presynaptic membrane here. A synaptic cleft, that is a gap-like portion here, this is known as the synaptic cleft. And a postsynaptic membrane here, in this case the postsynaptic membrane is that of the sarcolemma. Only in this case the postsynaptic membrane is a portion of the sarcolemma of a muscle fiber. Nerve impulses travel down an axon and its branches until nerve impulses reach the axon bulbs. Then the synaptic vesicles merge with the presynaptic membrane and acetylcholine that is released. This neurotransmitter that is released in the synaptic cleft. When the acetylcholine diffuses to and binds with the receptor sites on the sarcolemma, you can see the receptor sites here, these small portions, they are the receptor sites, and this is the acetylcholine which has been released here, and this acetylcholine that will be binding to these receptors present in the sarcolemma. When they will be binding with the receptor sites, the sarcolemma that will be depolarized. Depolarized means that will be allowing the sodium ions to enter inside. Muscle action potentials spread over the sarcolemma and down the T system. It will be going down into this T system. This is action potential traveling along the T tubules here. This is the T system here. Then it will be going down to the T system of the region where the calcium storage sites, they are present. Calcium ions, that is where, that is in the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Calcium ions, they are released and diffused into the cytoplasm where they participate in muscle contraction. T tubules, and this is the sarcoplasmic reticulum that will be stimulating the sarcoplasmic reticulum to release the calcium ions here. These calcium ions, they will be going and they will be attaching, they will be moving, and then they will be attaching to the troponin part of the actin filament. We have discussed the troponin part. One of the part of the troponin that will be binding with the actin, other part that will be binding with the tropomyosin, and the third part that will be binding with the calcium ions here. Calcium ions that have been released from their storage sac combined with the troponin. After binding occurs, the tropomyosin threads shift their position and myosin binding sites are exposed. Due to the binding of these calcium ions, troponin that will be displaced in such a way that it will be because it is attached with the tropomyosin also, it will be displacing the tropomyosin also from the active sites which are present on the actin filament. You can see the green one having these active sites here. These are covered with the tropomyosin normally, but when the calcium ions, they will be binding with the troponin. These binding site, that will be troponin, will be displacing the tropomyosin, and the binding sites, they will be exposed. The thick filaments is actually a bundle of myosin filament. The head, the globular head, that function as ATPase enzyme. This is the globular head, and that will be functioning as ATPase enzyme. It will be splitting the ATP into adenosine diphosphate and inorganic phosphate. Like this, you can see the ADP and the inorganic phosphate. This reaction activates the head so that they bind to the actin. It will be causing the binding of the globular head with the active sites present on the actin. ADP and the phosphate remains on the myosin heads until the heads, they attach to the actin, forming the cross bridges. Now this structure, when the globular head binds with the binding sites on the actin, this structure is known as the cross bridges. This is known as the formation of the cross bridges. Now ADP and inorganic phosphate, they are released, and this causes the cross bridges to change their position, and they will be changed in such a way, this arrow is indicating that they will be sliding the thin filaments like this to this position. So it will be displaced in such a way that it will be sliding the actin protein or the light filaments towards the inner side. Now ADP and this causes the cross bridges to change their position. This is known as the power stroke. That will be pulling the thin filaments towards the middle of the sarcomere. When other ATP molecule binds to the myosin head, the cross bridges are broken. As the heads detach from the actin, the cycle begins again. The actin filaments move nearer the center of the sarcomere each time the cycle is repeated. Contraction continues until the nerve impulse stops and the calcium ions are returned to their storage site. The membranes of the sarcoplasmic reticulum contains the active transport proteins that will be pumping the calcium ions back into the storage sites. So this is how the muscle contraction, that is controlled. This is a summary of the control of cross bridges. Nerve impulse that arrives at the neuromuscular junction, then it will be releasing the acetylcholine from the axon terminal, that will be binding to the acetylcholine receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane. Action potential that will be generated, traveling through the T tubules, reaching the sarcoplasmic reticulum, causing the release of the calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and the calcium ion binds to the troponin, displaces the tropomyosin, and forms the cross bridges. Contraction occurs in actin myosin cross bridges with the help of ATP present in the globular heads, and the muscle contract and that become shorter.
Muscle contraction. In this module, you will learn about the mechanism of muscle contraction. All our body movements, such as walking and running, are possible due to the presence of muscles inside the body. You already know that myofibril, that is, the simplest unit of muscle, contains contractile proteins that help in the contraction of muscles and thus in body movements. The sliding filament theory is the most accepted theory, which best explains how these proteins work to cause contraction of the muscles. The theory states that contraction of a muscle takes place by the sliding of the thin filaments over the thick filaments. Let us understand the steps given in the theory. The process of muscle contraction begins by a signal from the central nervous system, CNS. The signal is brought by the motor neurons from the CNS. These motor neurons are connected to the muscle fibers. The motor neuron with which a muscle fiber connects is called a motor unit. The junction between the motor neuron and the sarcolemma of the muscle fiber is known as the neuromuscular junction or the motor end plate. This junction is actually a synapse, that is, a small gap between the neuron and the muscle cell. The signals from the CNS are transported as electrical impulses, also known as action potential, across the synapse. A neural signal, on reaching the neuromuscular junction, releases a neurotransmitter, acetylcholine, thus generating an action potential in the sarcolemma. This action potential spreads through the muscle fiber and causes the release of calcium ions into the sarcoplasm from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. This in turn increases the level of calcium ions in the sarcoplasm. The increased level of calcium ions leads to the binding of calcium with the subunit of troponin on the actin filaments. This interaction triggers a conformational change in the tropomyosin, thus preventing it from masking the active sites for myosin present on the actin filaments, leaving them exposed. With the active sites of actin now exposed, the myosin heads start a binding process with actin, thus forming a cross bridge. The energy needed for the cross bridge formation comes from the hydrolysis of ATP attached to the myosin into ADP and inorganic phosphate. The attached actin filaments are therefore pulled towards the center of the A band, bringing the Z lines closer to each other. This ultimately results in the shortening of the sarcomere, that is basically the contraction of the muscle. You can clearly see that there is a reduction of I band during contraction, while the A band remains of the same length. ADP and inorganic phosphate are released during the shortening, thus binding the myosin head to the actin tightly. The myosin remains attached to the actin until a new ATP molecule binds to the myosin head and the cross bridge is broken. The ATP is again hydrolyzed by the ATPase found on the myosin head, and the cycle of the cross bridge formation and breakage is repeated, causing further sliding. The cross bridge cycling sequence continues to repeat till the muscle fiber is excited by the signal from the CNS. As the signal stops, no further release of calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum occurs. This enables the pumping back of calcium ions from the sarcoplasm back into the sarcoplasmic reticulum. This pumping back of calcium ions results in the masking of active sites on the actin filaments. This in turn causes the return of Z lines back to their original position, that is, relaxation. All the muscle fibers do not respond to the signal in the same interval of time, that is, the reaction time. The interval between the signal and the beginning of a response is not constant in all the muscle fibers. The slow twitch muscle fiber contracts slowly and utilizes oxygen better. What makes it slow is the components present in it. First is the myoglobin protein. It is an iron-oxygen binding protein found in muscle fibers. It is similar to the hemoglobin present in red blood cells. Myoglobin content is very high in slow-twitch muscle fibers. Thus, these muscles are also called red fibers. The second component is mitochondria. These muscles also contain a large number of mitochondria, which can use the oxygen stored in them for ATP production. These muscles, therefore, are also known as the aerobic muscles. For example, extensor muscle on the human back. The fast twitch muscle fibers, on the other hand, contract quickly and make use of the anaerobic metabolism. They generally contain fewer myoglobins, thus are pale or whitish, hence also known as white fibers. The number of mitochondria are also few in them, hence they have a low oxidative capacity. That is, the ability to use oxygen is low. The amount of sarcoplasmic reticulum is high in white fibers. For example, the muscles of the eyeball. Let's recap. The sliding filament theory is the most accepted theory, which best explains the mechanism of muscle contraction. A motor neuron carries signal from the CNS to the muscle fiber, which generates an action potential. The action potential causes the release of calcium ions from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Calcium ions bind to troponin on actin, thus exposing the binding sites for myosin. The myosin heads bind to the actin, forming a cross bridge that pulls the actin filaments, causing them to slide over the myosin filaments, thus causing contraction. Once the motor neuron stops sending the signals, calcium ions are returned back to the sarcoplasmic reticulum. This inactivates the actin, cross bridges are broken, and the muscles relax. Muscle fibers are classified as red muscle fibers and white muscle fibers, depending on the amount of red-colored myoglobin in them.